For more on that, I'm now joined by our correspondent Yusuf Al-Halu in Gaza. Yusuf, the truce seems to have been violated a number of times. Israel seems to have no reservations whatsoever in continuing its strikes and is now attacking the Gaza fishermen. Do you think Hamas at some point in time may end the truce with Israel in response to the continued Israeli attacks?
Yes, Mehrdad, the Israeli gunboats opened fire on Palestinian fishermen off the shore of northern Gaza Strip on the early hours of today morning. I have interviewed the head of the fishermen syndicate, and he told me that this is not the first attack to be reported since the Egyptian brokered the truce between Israel and Hamas went into effect on the 19th of June. Now, according to the Oslo Agreement, which signed between Israel and the Palestinian Authority back in 1993, Gaza fishermen are supposed to be allowed to fish in the Palestinian territorial water within 20 nautical miles in the Mediterranean Sea. But since the Al-Aqsa uprising broke out in the year 2000, Israel has been preventing Gaza fishermen of exceeding beyond 6 nautical miles by shooting on them. There are about 3,000 fishermen working along Gaza's 40-kilometer shores from Rafah in the south to Beit Lahia in the north. Hamas said that due to Israel's continued violations of the truce, it has suspended the negotiations over the release of the captured Israeli soldier, and Hamas believes that Israel is not serious about committing itself to the truce deal.
Now, as you said, Hamas has suspended talks with Israel in exchange of prisoners. Where do you think the prisoner swap deal is headed? Well,
Hamas leader Osama al-Muzaini, he said that a visit was due to in Cairo, but it was called off because of this decision. Now, Hamas said it suspended this prisoner swap unless Israel commit itself to the truce terms, which are lifting the siege imposed on Gaza and reopening all commercial crossings, as well as the Rafah crossing, and a cessation for the Israeli aggression in Gaza.
And finally, please update us on the state of life in Gaza for people. How are people earning their livelihoods and from day to day?
Well, the truce entered its third week. Today is the 16th day of the truce, and it was meant to ease the suffering of 1.5 million Gazans who have been living under suffocating siege, unable to leave the besieged coastal strip for more than a year. No changes have taken place on the ground, as the quantity of allowed goods and fuel is still very limited. And also, Israel keeps the crossings closed from time to time, and the besieged Gazans are still trapped in Gaza, unable to leave for any purpose, for medical care or family visits, or students who study abroad. The situation is still miserable, and they live in bad conditions, and they hope that Israel will commit itself to the truce. And the general mood among Palestinians is of pessimism. The truce is now over 2 weeks long, and they are still suffering.
First TV's correspondent Yusuf Al-Halu there. Many